We call to order, Councilmember Anderson, here, Councilmember Chapman, here, Councilmember Clayton, here, Deputy Mayor Quinn, here, Mayor Moore. Here. Please stand for a silent prayer and one reflection. We will now salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As provided in the Code of Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, after the notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Ghost Register and Ledger on January 22nd, 2024, the post office bulletin board the same date. All notices are filed with the city clerk. At this time, we have a proclamation declaring February 28th, 2024 as Jesse May Wednesday. You gotta come up here, Jesse.
Good evening, everyone. This is for you. So I just want to introduce all of you if you don't know her. This is Mrs. Jessie Mays. She is a pillar in her community. She is well loved. She is friendly. And if you piss her off, she's gonna let you know. But she's also our official photographer. But we find her to be a friend to all of us. So we have a proclamation here. And it says, whereas the city of Asbury Park takes great pride in its diverse community and values the contributions of its residents. And whereas Black History Month is an important time to honor and recognize the significant achievements and contributions made by African Americans throughout history. And whereas Ms. Jessie Mae Ritz, a prominent member of our community, has dedicated her life to advocating for equality, justice, and education for all. And whereas Jessie Mae Ritz has played a pivotal role in promoting cultural awareness and fostering unity within our city. And whereas it is fitting to commemorate Jessie Mae Ritz and honor her tireless efforts in advancing civil rights and social progress. And whereas the Black History Month event at the Berkeley Oceanfront Hotel in Asbury Park on February 28th, 2024, provides an ideal platform to celebrate Mrs. Jessie Mae Ritz and her remarkable accomplishments. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park do hereby recognize and declare February 28th, 2024 as Mrs. Jessie Mae Ritz Day in the city of Asbury Park.
Actually, I am speechless from February 28th up until now. I've always given my best, don't expect to stand out or be recognized. I just do what I do for the love of the people and for the love of the community. I am a fighter, and I will continue to fight for equal rights and justice for all of us. And I especially want to thank these folks here who I consider my friends. Amy Quinn, we haven't always agreed. Angela Anderson, same thing, we haven't always agreed. Okay, we pretty much agree. And Yvonne and I, of course, that's my hangout buddy, as I always say. And everybody knows that I love my mayor. And I've known him for 30, 40 years. Yeah. We haven't always agreed. But we respect one another and we all shoot for the same thing, and that's for the betterment of Asbury Park and all of its residents. So it is indeed an honor to be recognized. I don't like the light to be shined on me. I like to shine light on others. I like to lift others up. I'm not used to being in the spotlight myself, but it doesn't feel too bad. So, again, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, I thank my friend, someone I've known forever, and that's Alicia Floyd. And my family is here, if you all would indulge me. I'll ask my family to please stand. This is my youngest son, Rasan. This is my oldest son, Corey. That's my daughter, Khalid. And this is my best friend, Zania. She's my sister Judy's daughter. And since she was a kid, I've always introduced her as my best friend. That's her sister, Kishana. And that's my little buddy, Andre. And that is my friend, Rob, and my niece, Sandra McLeod. So thank you all.
All of you together in And then someone can send it to me and I'll send it to Jeff. Right here. Big smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, on to special ed examinations.
Please, Parent Council, the applications before you are all returning with two exceptions, and that's the drag day of Disability Walk, which will be held on May 7th, and the Good Friday procession, which will be held on Good Friday. Are there any questions on any of the applications?
I do.
Thank you.
Now, on to a presentation of Inspire by Somerset, of proposed amendments to the proposed redevelopment of block 4105, lots 134, 1209 Ocean, and 115 Fourth Avenue.
Thank you. Good evening, Michael Bruno, on behalf of Inspired by Somerset. Excited to be back in front of you with updated engineered plans and a couple of modest modifications to the previously approved plan and the plan that you saw and was attached to your subsequent development agreement. Ultimately, the changes that we're going to present tonight will be in front of your planning board subsequently. But we wanted to show you and get in the amendments needed to the site development agreement to reflect the changes. The changes primarily result from the plans being engineered for construction drawings. There is a reduction in the number of units from 155 down to 112. That results in very, very modest modifications to the site plan, which we're going to show to you this evening, the building by building comparison, virtually imperceptible the changes. Most of the changes are in the interior, and we're excited about it because it improves the project considerably. We're going to show you those also so you know what they're all about. But our marketing studies and our marketing efforts to date have yielded a desire for more bedrooms. People want more bedrooms. People want to bring their families here. People want to live here full time. I guess because of the dearth of new single-family homes that are available to people, and the fact that people want to be in Asbury Park. I mean, the diversity, the culture, the beauty of Asbury Park. People want to be here year-round, and that results in a desire for larger units, which results in us reducing the number of units to 112. So we want to present that to you. It results in very small changes that we'll show you. But we think the changes, albeit small, are significant improvements, and we're excited to be in front of you this evening to show you what ultimately results with these changes. We also think that the changes are going to allow this project to proceed much more quickly. We think the sales and absorption rate will happen quicker, and we think the project will be completed quicker, which I think is a desire of everyone. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Michael Lawson, who's one of the architects who's designed this beautiful project. Kind of walk you through a comparison of what was approved and what the changes look like. Again, they're virtually imperceptible, but we're going to show you those anyway. And then answer any questions you have this evening and move forward. Michael?
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, both of us here today. My name is Michael Lawson. I live in Milwaukee, Architects and Planners, and I'm very excited, as Michael Bruno said, to be here to present the updates that we have to this fantastic project here at Asbury Park. These improvements really do make a great difference in terms of marketability for the project. We're excited to be here. So as we go through, I'm going to share several slides here that show what was approved in 2023 and then what is proposed in 2023. And you can see that many of these are virtually unchanged. They're imperceptible in terms of what we had approved in 2023 and then what we're proposing today. These changes do not change the overall height of the building, and many of them are imperceptible to looking at from one to the next. This is the 4th Avenue building elevation. This is where the main entry to the building is located. And you can see that, as I said, virtually unchanged.
So we're just orienting us, Michael. The top is what was approved, and the bottom one is the new design.
Correct. Yep, the top one is what was approved, and the bottom is what we're presenting now. This is the view along Ocean Avenue. As you can see here, same materials, virtually unchanged. We'll talk a little bit about when we get to the plan, some of the interior modifications that occurred, but that did not affect anything on the outside of the building or the overall mass of the building. It did not affect anything in terms of the ins and outs that we had originally proposed. And as you can see, this is the engineered plan that we're proposing today, and that was the approved site plan that we received in 2023. The same thing occurs on the 5th Avenue building elevation. The only thing here that you will see is that there were some extra ventilation areas that needed to be accommodated into the building along the Wonder Bar facade that's actually pushed back from 5th Avenue. And we masked those with a different colored panel to portray that there is orientation and hiding those mechanical ventilation that come off of that building in that area. And then the Kingsley Street West building elevation, you can see here, there's virtually no changes in terms of what we are providing to you from what was approved in 2023 to what was proposed in 2024. The one thing that I will note, and we'll get to that in 1 second, is that the transformers were relocated to Kingsley based on JCP&L coordination. The utility company said that we had to place them there. That leads us into the building plans. And on the left-hand side, you have the approved 2023 plans, and on the right-hand side, you have the proposed 2024 plans. The main updates here that I'll just take you through is one is the transformer relocation that occurred from originally we had the transformers located here. We worked with JCP&L, we pushed them to try and keep them there, but unfortunately they made us move them to Kingsley. And what you have seen in the past with the elevations is we made sure that the ventilation that is required for those transformers works with the original proposed elevations that we had worked with. So there's no change in the amount of fenestration or the articulation of those openings. We worked very hard to make that happen. The other note that I wanted to say here was that we wanted to create a continuous retail. That creates a better plan for Ocean Avenue. And we relocated the beach alley that we talked a lot about in our original proposal. We actually relocated that to the side of the building. That allows it to have direct access, the same use, the same idea going on there. But it is closer than to the Fifth Avenue and Ocean Avenue intersection for easy and pedestrian safety. It does allow us to have then continuous retail along Ocean, which I think is much more conducive for the city. Those were the main changes here on the ground floor. We'll go up to the next floor, which is the first level of the parking garage. Here, what we have done is we provided a border court for a special arrival to the project with no loss of on-street parking. So this drop-off sequence actually happens inside the building. This frees up street traffic for drop-offs, and that, of course, then happens interior of the building rather than outside the building. You don't have people stopping on 4th or 5th Avenue, to drop things off. They're really going to happen now inside the building. We also finalized the location of the Wonder Bar parking spaces, and those are in a dedicated area, and I can show you here. They're in a dedicated area adjacent to the Wonder Bar and with easy access to the staircase right here that leads you straight down and then out to that beach alley that we reconfigured. So it works really quite nicely in terms of finalizing how this operates on a day-to-day basis. Because we've updated the parking, we actually have more parking spaces per unit than we had originally proposed. And that's a benefit for the residents as well as making sure that there's an appropriate amount of parking for this project inside the building. The next few slides are in the base of the building where we have residential units wrapped around the parking garage. And as you can see, there really is virtually no changes here, other than some demising walls moving based on the unit mix revisions that we've done and Michael Bruno has talked about. There really is virtually no changes to the overall footprint of the building here. One of the things that I did want to note though is that in this location right here, where you see this number 7, we did bump out slightly in this area. Very, very slight. It allows for a better pedestrian connection within the garage to the north tower. That is something, it's a very small change, but we wanted to note it in our transparency to you all. Again, virtually unchanged. The idea and the design intent of the base of the building is no different than what we had originally proposed and were approved in 2020. As we go up the building, you will see that the footprints of the towers really are virtually unchanged. The ins and outs of the building, where the proposed balconies are occurring, the depth of those, all of that is the same as what we had originally been approved of in 2023. As you can see here on the amenity deck, that has been finalized as we've worked through the engineering drawings and worked with the landscape architect. So there might be some modifications there, but the design intent has remained the same. The different uses and amenities are the same as what we testified and presented to you all in the planning board in 2023. And as we go up the building, the only thing that you will notice as changing here is the unit mix inside the building, where the demising walls are located based on our reduction units. And this happens on every single floor, and essentially the tower footprints and those kinds of things have minor modifications. And on the right of ways, everything is the same with the ins and outs of the building. Again, same floor on the 6th, the 7th, and 8th. That leads us to our mezzanine, which is a permitted additional area on the building per redevelopment plan. With the revision of the unit mix and the layout, the mezzanine remains fully compliant with the ordinance. There is no net gain in square footage or massing. In fact, the massing has been reduced in overall square footage based on what we had originally had and been approved in 2023. As we get to the rooftop tariff is reduced based on the quantity of units. There's less units on the top floor, so therefore we have less private terraces on the rooftop. They are still compliant and the same amenities that we had presented earlier on the final. The massing along the right of way has remained unchanged as well as the rooftop and how it is articulated virtually remains unchanged. So that leads us back to the rendering of the building that we're very excited to be presenting to you all tonight. We think that this will be a catalyst for Asbury Park and really bring a beautiful building to your city. So thank you.
So our plan would be to make sure the council's agreeable to the changes and what you see in the same like we do. Maybe do an amendment to the redevelopment agreement to reflect the 155 total control units in new concept plans. And then we go back in front of your planning board for an amended site plan if they deem appropriate. And obviously we'll update the financial agreement and the special assessment agreement. We have worked with your assessor briefly on this. You know, this will create more revenue to the city. It's approximately 9% we're projecting in more revenue, so that's a good thing. And so those are the kind of tasks that we have to undertake. We're excited to get that behind us so we can start on the project in earnest. Our clients here, if you have any questions of them, I know they're really excited about the additions and happy to be before you and answer any questions you might have.
How, excuse me, with these changes, how's the completion date being moved up? I don't understand.
Well, I think from our perspective, we have less units to sell.
That's sell, I'm saying complete, built, coming on rolls till it gets money. Am I still talking 2027?
Well, I'll answer our client that, but I think the concept is to have more units in demand, so the financing to build the project is easier to close and get underway. So the sooner you can get underway with that process, the sooner we can get this complete. And we believe, and I'll let my client speak for this issue, that this will enhance that likelihood and expedite it. That's one of the goals behind all of these changes.
So I think you just answered my next question. Is the financing in place?
We have certain financing in place. We still have some construction financing.
And then I know you're giving more parking than needed for 1.5 per unit, but I mean, the 4-bedroom units, it's for anybody to think that somebody's gonna have one car for a 4-bedroom unit. I think it's like, you know, none of us know what the council in 2002 thought when they said units. I mean, if you came in with a 10-bed, it's not your fault. If somebody came in and said, I'm building a 10-bedroom unit, they would have to provide 1.5 parking spots. So you're building now, you're the first, I believe, to build 4 bedrooms. So, you know, yes, it's good as extra spaces, but I think those extra spaces are going to be gobbled up quickly by 4-bedroom units.
And maybe.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Except, you and I have client talk about financing.
Our client's happy to come up and.
You have a client talk about when this is going to start, when it's going to be finished.
Ralph, would you like to come up?
I just have a quick question. No change in height from.
No, we were not gonna dare go.
Hi, happy to be here. Yes, I'm having less units to sell to less people, more family oriented, according to our sales team, will enhance and speed up the absorption. Typically on a job like this, we've closed on the land, we own it, our financing is in place for where we have to be today. Our financing, you don't take your construction on until you're literally ready to go into the ground to go up. We have lenders ready to lend us, but again, it's a, you don't borrow a year before. Now it's about 9 months before you tend to break ground. But we are on schedule and on track and excited to get going. And we've also taken a little bit of a leap of faith, and we've actually had our architects prepare the full set of drawings for both scenarios. So we would hope that the city would like what we're presenting. Either way, we proceed. This would not slow us down one iota. As a matter of fact, we may be slightly ahead with the plans for the 112 units.
So if everything went perfect, or semi-perfect, finance and everything, you projected starting date, and you projected ending date.
Projected starting date 9 to 12 months and ending date 2 to 3 years from that.
2027, 2028.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2 years, especially since we don't have that much, but when I say finish, that means the last hinge has been repaired for the last homeowner. But we're doing this will speed things up.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll talk to the council about the occupation we want to have and memorialize.
Well, I think we got to figure out whether it's yes or no. And then we'll go on to council.
Thank you.
Items matters for city council, Councilmember Rose Anderson.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes, quickly, I'd just like to let everyone know that tickets are on sale for the 2024 Mayor's Rock and Roll for Recreation event, which will take place on April 25th, and it raises funds for the state's recreation program. It'll be after some voting. It'll be awesome.
Councilmember Clayton.
Good evening. I just wanted to announce that last weekend's Easter egg extravaganza put on by the city had to be canceled due to inclement weather, but it will be held this Sunday in Springwood Park. The time is from 12 to 3, and it's for children 10 and under. So please come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Quinn. Mayor Moore.
Yeah, this is the most important one for everybody. It's more with no E, MOR, 908-489-1887. If you're the one who hit that Powerball on Neptune. Please, John Moore, hit ball, I'm happy to spend it. That's it.
Thank you, matters for the city manager.
Yeah, that's it now.
No, but thank you. You all, matters for the city attorney. And round public participation by motion of the meeting of the public. Okay. And go on to, public participation portion is now open. You have the public who wishes to speak. Please use the microphone, state your name and address for the record. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Again, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Nancy Sabino, and I live at 1000 4th Avenue, Speedway. This question has to do with the 1201 redevelopment project, and I just want to say that I support the request from last meeting for a re-examination of the vehicular access of Memorial Avenue redevelopment plan to consider having the access on Memorial and 5th as additional vehicle access points to what's now only on 4th. I've lived on 4th Avenue since 2009, and the traffic has already increased in the past 15 years. Cars and non-permitted trucks driving, as we all know, faster than the estimated 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Well, there used to be police cars sitting in front of my house at least once a month giving out speeding tickets. That's not been the case lately. I was told by our transportation director, Bonanno, that enforcement doesn't work to slow traffic. So as we wait for promised raised sidewalks and common traffic lights further on 4th Avenue, traffic now boldly and flagrantly flies up and down 4th Avenue. Case in point, today I saw 2 dump trucks, a DPW backhoe, 2 liquid container trucks, school buses and vans careening midday past my house as I was writing this. And try pulling out of a side street onto Third or Fourth Avenue, inching out past all the parked cars, practically halfway out onto the avenues, only to see annoyed drivers angry to have to slow down. While these situations are not being addressed adequately now, I can't imagine how the increase of 130 units on Fourth Avenue daily will make anything better. It was stated at last meeting that there was a traffic study done to support the decision for locating vehicular access from Fourth Avenue. I'd like to know how to get a copy of that study. The study mentioned it was done in 2019, before the pandemic changed everyone's driving habits, and used data from inexplicably Third Avenue, not Fourth. I believe that a re-examination should at least look at the exact streets in question now and consider alternative options that could better distribute traffic more evenly throughout the 3 streets that the new development sits on between Memorial, 5th, and 4th. To recap, more police enforcement now would help to show the residents that the city recognizes and doing something about the speeding cars and overweight trucks on 4th. And I support the re-examination of the vehicular access of Memorial Drive Development Plan to consider Memorial deemed a collector access street and 5th as additional vehicular access points to what now is only onto 4th, a neighborhood street. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get a copy of the?
Yeah, sure. I can give you a copy of the NJDOT traffic study, and we will be doing more 4th Avenue traffic counts, but I am waiting for more summer months. I don't want to do a traffic count now and then compare it and say, well, there's no cars in December or January, you know? So we'll be doing more traffic counts and evaluating traffic as we go forward as well. And I do believe that enforcement of speeding laws does help slow vehicles down. I don't know when we spoke, but maybe I was misinterpreted.
Thank you.
Matt Daniels, 1026 Monroe Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I could surmise that there is a bit of a wonder as to why we are here, why I'm here, and the general, I guess, reason for that. And to that, I would say that there's a cavalcade of reasons that kind of wrap itself into one. But I'll start by saying it's good to be here, and it's good to be able to talk, and it's good to be able to discuss. And part of that reason, or part of the reasons that we are here, that I am here, is that there is currently a situation going on in which the discussion of that situation has been taboo, it's been forbidden. And 2 weeks ago, we came here and we were able to start a discussion about a ceasefire resolution for the current conflict of Palestine and Israel, and as I would refer to it, with full backing and no doubt, but I won't task you to refer to it as the genocide of Palestine. Now, I am very, very happy once again to be able to not only speak to council about it, but to speak to people that are along the ideological spectrum on this. And I know that my colleagues are as well. They're very, very happy to, although obviously under grave and tragic circumstances, able to speak what we know as truth to power. That is what we're here to do. And I thank people that are here, not even for what I'm here for, just exercising that ability to do so. I know that there are a load of statistics that, I'm sure will be brought up tonight, and I task everyone to listen to them. I task everyone to have these conversations openly and honestly, and I thank you all, I thank everyone for being able to do it free Palestine.
Thank you.
Max Resident. I'm actually from Millstone, New Jersey. I'm speaking on behalf
Repeat your name, I should be here, sorry.
Yeah, Max Resident
Thank you.
from Millstone, New Jersey.
Thank you.
I'm actually speaking on behalf of Asbury Park resident Corey Lewin, who couldn't be present tonight. So these are her words, and I fully support and stand by them. I would like to express my support for the city of Asbury Park, joining other communities in the state of New Jersey to call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Here in Asbury Park, our main mission through community work is to improve the lives of children in our city. Children represent the best of us, purest in us, and the most helpful in us, and their health, security, and well-being is essential to the preservation of every nation. There are so many children in our community who, through no fault of their own, lack the support and resources needed to grow into healthy, happy, and adjusted adults. These are the children who have seemingly been forgotten by so many of us, and who suffer as a result of apathy and inaction. However, apathy and inaction does not adequately characterize the root causes of suffering of the people in Gaza, the majority of whom are children. They do not just suffer because the American government is doing nothing, they're suffering because this country is playing an active role in their oppression. This country is actively supporting the genocide in Gaza. Clearly, there are geopolitical factors at play far beyond the control of this council. However, it's about time the pressure be applied at all levels of government. If enough municipalities speak up, states will pay attention. If enough states speak up, the federal government can't conveniently ignore it. There's many ways to participate in active democracy that many Americans do not take advantage of. I refuse to be someone who accepts defeat and chooses to believe that my voice cannot make a difference. I encourage this council to show the same resolve and courage that people here are exhibiting to have their voices heard. Speak up for what's right, and don't wait for someone else to fix it, just because you think the problem is too big for you. Step up and call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Kimberly Opie. I currently live in Ocean. I am a previous resident of Asbury Park for over 7 years. I am a local artist and community organizer. As someone who takes pride in the progressive work of our community, I feel that it is important to extend that work outside of this community. Any information I will be reading is sourced from Dr. Gouache, pediatric neurologist and co-founder of Doctors Against Genocide, and from accuracy.org, Institute for Public Accuracy. I would like to first take some time to talk about Women's History Month. While we celebrate here in America, there are 60,000 pregnant women in Gaza, and 63 women are killed daily. Just to give you some perspective, that is a busload of women killed daily. 183 women are giving birth every day. Every day, these women are giving birth to premature babies with no neonatal ICU and care. 6 out of 36 hospitals in Gaza are partially working after being damaged. The doctors and nurses are working under extremely unsanitary conditions with lack of medications. Medical staff are pulling endotracheal tubes from patients who have died, rinsed off, and used for another patient. This is an extreme risk of infection and risk of antibiotic-resistant infections, which won't just affect Gaza, but will affect all of us, all over the world. Let us also not forget that these same children that are being prematurely born are at risk of so many complications, but are dying of starvation. The deliberate withholding of essential resources, including food, with the intent of starving the Palestinian population of Gaza constitutes a gross violation of international law, human rights, and the principles of justice and humanity. Article 2 of the Genocide Convention defines as genocide deliberately inflicting on a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. The Israeli occupation's deliberate destruction of Palestinian food systems and obstruction of humanitarian aid by Israel clearly fall within the ambit of this definition. If you call yourself a feminist, someone who cares about the human race, you won't stay silent, even if it seems minimal. Address these atrocities, because if you choose to do nothing at all, trust me, you will be remembered for it. We do sincerely hope that you, City Council, continue to work with us towards a ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Eighth Avenue. I want to say that the abatement staff, I don't know if this party here tonight is going to get an abatement, but I really think that was the wrong address. 1209 Kingsley Street it's on the east side. And that's the wrong address. Because I was on the other side and it was in odd numbers, 11, 13, 9. So you ought to check that out. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the Black Lives luncheon that we had. I heard it was very nice and that's good. But I was reviewing some of the bills. Everything you bought was from outside the city. I thought we always thought that we should patronize our own businesses here. There was one from Manville, I don't even know where that is. Lebanon was the other one, and I heard the food came from Ewing, which is like an hour and a half away. I don't understand. The 5 of you were sitting up there and preaching about staying in Asbury and patronizing the businesses, and you spend a lot of money to promote it, but yet you go and shop out of town, and then an hour and a half away. What is that about? And then I want to know how many cell phones are issued in this. Does everybody in this building have a cell phone? I'd like to get an answer to that. Other than that, I want to talk about the abatements. I've been reading a lot about it, and there's a lot that you could do. You can promote getting the school board to have a pilot program to take the money from the developer. And I don't think you have anybody reviewing any of these abatements, because if you did, I think you'll find out that nobody's following the rules. And you could take the abatement away from them if you find out that they didn't hire enough people from Asbury Park or other violations, I don't know them all. And the third thing I want to talk about is, how does Interfaith Neighbors, a building that's 1 block long, and I don't know how wide, gets away with paying $8,100 in taxes? They have a pilot, but 8,000? Houses on 4th Avenue, some of them pay 8,000, right, John? I mean, I just don't get it. We have to pay them $7,000, it used to be 600 and something, a quarter. For what? We gave them $3 million to start the building.
Finish your sentence,
Huh?
Finish your sentence, your time's up.
Okay, I want you to look into this. You have to have a special person looking at all the abatements, all the pilots, because we are getting screwed.
Okay.
Okay?
As far as do all employees have cell phones, the answer is no.
No what? No cell phones.
All employees have cell phones, the answer is no. As far as abatements, we do have two fantastic people that look at the abatements and get us the top dollar. So as far as dollar-wise, and as far as interfaith and the abatements you're talking about, they were all approved by councils 15 to 20 years ago.
I know that.
Well, we can't unilaterally change the contract. As far as the food, I didn't know they were an hour and a half away, so that's new. Let us look into that and get back to you. It was that.
Yeah, it was on the table.
Yeah. I don't think.
Yes, she did. She had a restaurant here.
Okay, but we'll look at it. Thank you.
My name is Alexandra. I'm resident for Asbury.
Alexandra? What? What's your last name?
Alexandra Gonzalez.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I was at Asbury for 8 years.
Thank you.
Where do you live now?
Belmar.
No, thank you.
I'm basically here to echo and stand by my pro-Palestinian and Palestinian family and friends and push for And if they do it to one of us, they can do it to any of us. This period of time will be written in history, and I would just want Asbury Park to be on that side that's correct and the side of life. And free Palestine and love Palestine.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All participation board is now closed.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was quick. I didn't, can you still get on mine? I didn't realize no one else was on.
Sorry, that was extremely speedy.
There's nobody, usually people loud at the microphone, so there's been a motion, it's been seconded.
I was literally receiving a message from a Palestinian woman who wanted me to read out. That's why I was in my phone.
Since you two are the only two complaining, you two can do speak, and then that's.
Okay.
Oh, I wasn't complaining, I was just commenting.
Call it whatever you want, you give me the opportunity.
Hello. My name is Alexander Hanna. I'm leaving my address after this. I'm a resident of Northwest Asbury Park. I'm a new resident here in Asbury Park. I've lived here for 3 years. And I chose to live here because I wanted to live somewhere with a history of art and culture. And Asbury Park is a leader in respect and human rights, and that's really inspiring to me. And I'm always inspired by the community around here, and I thought I could be a part of this. I'm really grateful I moved here. I have built a community around me, and I am a very, very lucky person. I'm also a practicing Jew, and every Friday night, I told this last time, we sing Shalom Rav. It is a prayer for peace, and the Siddur, which is the book you read every Friday night, there's commentary. These are your same prayers every week, so that you get forward, you give you a little something to think about, a little something to chew on, other perspectives. Next. And there's an adage I read when I read that prayer, which is pray as if God is your only option, but act as if you are the only option. I am one person, and while I pray for peace, I want hostages to be returned, and I am desperate for the end of this barbaric war. I don't know what I'm supposed to do as one person, but I am one person in this larger, wider, vibrant, powerful community, and I moved here on purpose because I believe in Asbury Park. I'm hoping that you'll sign the ceasefire resolution for me and for everyone here who believes in peace and has moved here to live this life. I cannot extend my bubble of art and culture and respect for human life without your help, and that is why I'm asking you to sign it. As we approach the Passover season, Jews are asked to reflect on, what is the nature of oppression, because Jews are released from Egypt, and that's what Passover celebrates, and so we have to ask ourselves, what is the nature of oppression and injustice? And Asbury Park does a really good job at looking at this and asking ourselves, who are we going to be as a community? There's an adage that's frequently used at Passover Seder's about what will you do to fight social injustice going forward, and they want you to donate to usually refugee causes, because not because refugees are Jews, but we are Jews, and we know what it is to suffer and to experience injustice. And I'm asking you to sign the ceasefire resolution, not in spite of my Judaism, but because of it, because the highest law of Judaism is the preservation of human life and our highest values to come along, just to heal the world. I was really disappointed at the amount of people here last time. For so many other communities representing the Jewish point of view that asked you to hold up this war, which is barbaric and terrible. So many lives have been lost, they're innocent civilians. When I look at my community, I look around and I know they're all innocent civilians. I hate to think what that was doing here, and I'm asking you to extend this level of safety and respect. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Levine. I live in Asbury Park. I give you my full address afterwards. I don't feel safe saying it out loud. I want to wish our Muslim neighbors Ramadan Kareem and Assalamu Alaikum. I'm here on behalf of Jewish Return Food Not Bombs and Jewish Voice for Peace. I really want to thank you, Deputy Mayor Amy Quinn, for agreeing to meet with us on our resolution. We are here to encourage City Council to continue to move forward and pass a resolution for a permanent ceasefire in Palestine. And we wish for this to happen sooner than later. Israeli Holocaust and Genocide scholar and professor Ross Siegel called this a quote, textbook case of genocide on October 16th. Democracy Now! Reported on that. We are 5 months into this, and we are still trying to convince people of this fact. As the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, it is my duty to speak out against genocide. I grew up repeating, never again. We've heard it all the time. But now we must say never again for anyone. Never again for any child, and never again even for any soldier that's sucked into this war machine. To be clear, every single member of my Grandpa Jack's family, including his first wife and children, were exterminated in Poland. Every family of my Grandma Rose's, her first husband, her family were all exterminated in Poland. So I grew up in a Zionist family, very much understanding and hearing that in order for my own family, for me as a grandchild, to have a safe haven, that the need for Israel was the answer to that. So for any Jewish people in the room, I hear you, I understand you, I grew up in the same community. I am anti-war and anti-occupation and support the end of the occupation of Palestine. It is out of and not in spite of my own heritage and being a descendant of Holocaust and genocide survivors that I refuse to allow their tragedy and their sheer horrors that happened in Poland, that they survived, to now be weaponized against the Palestinian people. I'm going to switch now to share a message from a local Palestinian woman. These are her words. Israel makes repeated claims which have been systematically discredited that Hamas used hospitals as operation centers. Israel appears to be operating on the premise that if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. Israeli soldiers have published footage boasting about the killing of families, mothers, children, the bombing of homes, mosques, and schools. Mass disappearance, arbitrary detentions, widespread and systematic torture, and inhumane torture. This all adds to the experience of endless death and loss. Again, I will reiterate, I am a practicing Jew. I have been praying for the wounded since October 8th, and sadly, the number keeps rising. So in October, when we were praying for the wounded and mourning for the death, the number, I think my time's up. We're now up to over 30,000. And I do want to clearly say, when I pray, I also pray for the 1,200 Israelis whose lives were lost on October 7th. And my prayers also extend to the families of the hostages. And I pray for my family who's in Israel. And I want to be clear, as a Jew, I'm praying for Israelis and both sides. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Participation portion is now closed. Now, in the minutes of the executive minutes, regular meeting minutes, March 13, 2024. Motion. Councilmember Davis? Yes. Councilmember Chapman? Yes. Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Now, the consent agenda resolution, all matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to the city council and will be considered for approval by one vote. These matters are considered to be routine in nature, and there will be no discussion. Discussion is desired by one or more council members. If a particular item is said, item should be removed from the consent agenda and consent session. On the consent agenda, we have resolutions 2024-163 through 2024-169, which includes appointments to the recreation committee. The appointee is Stephen Wright, with a term to expire January 15, 2025. Do I have a motion for consent? Move it. Second. Councilmember Bennett? Yes. Councilmember Chapman? Yes. Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Now, on to individual resolutions. Resolution 2024-170, resolution approving payment of bills. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bennett? Yes. Councilmember Chapman? Yes. Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2024-119, resolution authorizing payment to Kivett LLC for marketing services that are made and sold in Asbury Park project. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bennett? Yes. Councilmember Chapman? Yes. Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore? Resolution 2024-139, resolution authorizing the execution of shared services agreement with the Township of Bethlehem for fence management at West Lake. Move it. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman, yes. Councilmember Clayton, yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn, yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-171, resolution authorizing purchase of office furniture needed for the police department. Move it. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman, yes. Councilmember Clayton, yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn, yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
If you could look at your number. Yes, yes, thank you. Resolution 2024-172, resolution authorizing the purchase of the vehicle for social services. Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman, yes. Councilmember Clayton, yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn, yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-173, resolution authorizing the purchase of 2024 seasonal beach patches. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman, yes. Councilmember Clayton, yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn, yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-174, resolution awarding electronic beach patches to the city of Asbury Park. Move it. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman, yes. Councilmember Clayton, yes. Mayor Quinn, yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-175, resolution authorizing beach management at Sunset Park. Move it. Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Chapman.
Yes, but I'm just going to say that I'm doing this under duress because I won't feel this under this way. I'm going to say yes because it's better than nothing.
Thank you. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-176, resolution approving change order number 3 to the Union Fire Department headquarters. Move it. Second. Councilmember Lennon, no. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. No. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-177, resolution authorizing the fertilizer and weed control program at various locations citywide, control program for 2024. Move it. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-178, resolution authorizing upgrades to the Asbury Park Police Department's surveillance trailer upgrades. Move it. Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-179, resolution entering into an agreement with Monmouth County to administer the city's community development block grant program. Move it. May I have a second? Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-180, resolution approving a hardship exception to allow for the issuance of a road opening permit relating to certain construction to be undertaken in front of the premises located at 89 Bond Street, also known as 700 First Avenue, block 2606, lot 6, within the city. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Lennon. Yes. Councilmember Chapman.
Can I ask a question? When this road is repaired, is it curb to curb?
Yes.
It should be.
Yes, yeah, they're required to completely repave and resurface to the satisfaction of the city engineers.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-181, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into an amendment of the subsequent development agreement with Asbury Park LLC and Toll Brothers Asbury Park Urban Renewal LLC to extend the date for the issuance of redeveloped area bonds in connection with development of property located at lot 31 of 3 lot 1. Move it. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
No.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-182, supplemental resolution authorizing the issuance of one or more series of additional non-recourse redevelopment area bonds of the city of Asbury Park in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,500,000 for the development area infrastructure project in connection with the project being undertaken in the city of Toll Brothers Asbury Park Urban Renewal LLC, and as a portion of non-recourse redevelopment area bonds, the city previously approved pursuant to a resolution duly adopted by the city council on February 2013. Is there a motion? Move it. Councilmember Lennon, no. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. No. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-183, resolution adopting the home improvement program. Move it. Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
No.
Resolution 2024-184, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into an amendment of subsequent draw agreement with Asbury Park LLC and 202-247 Avenue, Urban Renewal LLC to extend the date of the issuance of redevelopment area bonds in connection with the development of property located at block 3201 Ross Street. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. No. Councilmember Patton. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-185, supplemental resolution authorizing the issuance of one or more series of additional non-recourse redevelopment area bonds in the city of Asbury Park in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $2 million for a redevelopment area infrastructure project in connection with the project being undertaken in the city by 202-204 Avenue Urban Renewal LLC, formerly known as 202 Avenue LLC, and as a portion of non-recourse redevelopment area bonds of the city previously approved pursuant to a resolution duly adopted by the city council on February 20, 2013. For the motion.
Move it.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. No. Councilmember Patton.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-186, resolution amending resolution 2024-141, which was adopted on February 28, 2024, establishing fees and regulations for the 2024 beach season. Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Patton.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-187, resolution approving 2022-2023 alcohol beverage control license for Asbury Music Company Incorporated in the city of Asbury Park, County, Monmouth, New Jersey.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-188, resolution approving the 2023-2024 alcohol beverage control license for Asbury Music Company Incorporated in the city of Asbury Park, County, Monmouth, State of New Jersey.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-189, resolution approving place liquor license transfer, expansion of premises from Asbury Park LLC, doing business as Robinson House, Supper Club, Maryville Restaurant. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore. Now, on ordinances for introduction, ordinance 2024-8, ordinance amending chapter 7, section 1314 to establish prohibiting parking regulations along Green Street and Second Avenue with a public hearing date of April 10, 2024. Move it. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're out on second reading public hearing of ordinances, ordinance 2024-6. Ordinance of the city of Asbury Park amending supplementing chapter 30 entitled Land and Development Regulations of the Code of the City of Asbury Park, as well as the redevelopment plan for the scattered site stars of Washington Avenue redevelopment area regarding accessory dwelling units. Michelle, Director of Planning and Redevelopment, Michelle Alonso, provide a brief overview of this ordinance.
Okay, good evening. This is the accessory dwelling unit ordinance of a permit legal 1 and 2 families of record in primarily the R1, but other areas of the city as well.
Can you hear? No, they can't hear.
Okay, we'll try again. This is the accessory dwelling unit ordinance that would permit 1 and 2 families of record in the R1 district and other areas of the city, as the title suggests, to have an accessory dwelling unit on the property. And it's typically a small structure at the rear of the property. It can be a converted garage, it could be a new structure, but it's different than a 2-family or 3-family zone in that to have an accessory dwelling unit, you must be the principal owner and have a legal address as your principal residence at this address. You would not be able to short-term rental the property, and that you would be required, which would be the next ordinance, to have to register the property as a rental. There's also, of course, other bulk restrictions in that you can't exceed the coverage requirements of your district,
the accessory structure cannot be more than 20 feet, and that it has to aesthetically comply with the guidelines, the design guidelines for the R1 district.
Thank you. May I have a motion to open up the public hearing on ordinance 2024-6?
Move to ordinance second.
All in favor? Aye. Public hearing on ordinance 2024-6 is now open, and member of the public wishes to speak, please use the microphone. State your name and address, and your comments may be regarding ordinance 2024-6 only.
Do they have to have a parking space?
Yes,
Where, on the property?
yes.
And are they gonna pay extra taxes?
Yes, I mean, it would, so, I know this question had come up, it will be, yes, I'm not the tax assessor, but of course, there's gonna be a different assessment for one family.
Who's gonna monitor this? Suppose they do, have a family move in, part of the family, and suppose they move out and they put a stranger in there, who's gonna know it?
Well, let me clarify, the accessory dwelling unit can be a family, for a family member, but it can also be rented out if it's registered with us. And depending on what portion of the code is violated, it would be the duty of the zoning officer, or it may be the duty of code enforcement, depending on which portion is the violation.
Well, I think we're asking for more trouble, because Allenhurst just changed all their rentals. They're not gonna have any rentals in the backyard, and they're not going to rent for the summer. Because it is a big problem, and you can't control it. Can't control other things, how are you gonna control that? I didn't even know that on my block, I am the only one family left. The only one. And looking at the voter registration list, I couldn't believe what I saw. Apartment 1, apartment 2, these are all one-family houses that nobody knows about. And all of a sudden, they're multiple dwellings, and nobody says a word. That's the wrong thing to do. You're crowding up the town, nobody's gonna have a parking space. What if they have 2 cars, like in my backyard? Then, yeah, somebody has to pull out, and they have to pull out. It's a problem. I don't think it helps anybody. You better think about that, because that's a serious problem besides other things that we have here. We don't have anybody overlooking anything. I don't know how my block got to be like that. I thought I was wide awake, but I guess I was sleeping when it happened. No, it's not fair. How do you pay on a one-family house and then everybody else has got an apartment? I think it creates a problem. But that's only me, the voice of reason.
Thank you. Motion to close.
All in favor? Public hearing on ordinance 2024-6 is now closed. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-6? Move it. Second. Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-7, ordinance of the city of Asbury Park, amending and supplementing chapter 13, entitled Property Improvement Neighborhood Preservation, Property Maintenance Code of the Code of the City of Asbury Park, in order to establish a new section thereof entitled Accessory Dwelling Units, ADUs. Sean,
Yeah, so this is the ordinance to the zoning ordinance, and this will require a registration and a certificate, and that the property must be the principal residence of the owner, and that none of the units can be a short-term rental.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to open public hearing on ordinance 2024-7? Second. All in favor? Aye. Public hearing on ordinance 2024-7 is now open, and members of the public who wish to speak, please use the microphone.
So, what is this ordinance about?
This is the companion ordinance to the zoning ordinance for the regulation of accessory dwelling unit. It works much like the short-term rental, in that if you have an accessory dwelling unit, that you must register it with code enforcement on an annual basis, give the name of the tenant, and that you need to demonstrate that you live at the property, that it is your primary residence.
But don't you think you would send a notice out about that? Because a lot of people are breaking the rules and you know it. But if nobody gets a notice about anything unless they come here. You have to do better than that. You have to send out a notice to all these people that have rentals. There's one right now. Nobody lives in the house, and all they do is rent it for parties every weekend. It's on the corner of 7th and Grand. You can go look at it. No, and you're just creating more problems for yourselves.
Motion to close.
All in favor? Public hearing on ordinance 2024-7 is now closed. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-7? Move to adopt. Is there a second? Second. Councilmember Redpath. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
No one has anything else on to adjourn? All in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.